Imagine this for a moment. You watch a video, read a book, or attend a training session. You nod along. It all makes sense. You feel inspired. And then, a week later, nothing in your life has actually changed. The knowledge is still there, but the behavior is exactly the same. This is the hidden failure of most learning. It is not that people are lazy or unmotivated. It is that learning, as it is usually designed, ignores how human behavior really works. In this video, we are going to flip the usual conversation on its head. Instead of talking about how to learn more, faster, or smarter, we are going to talk about why learning fails to change behavior and how behavior design can fix that. By the end of this video, you will understand how habits are formed through learning, why motivation alone is unreliable, and how to design learning experiences that actually change what people do, not just what they know. Most learning content assumes that information is enough. If we explain something clearly, people will naturally apply it. But human behavior does not work that way. People do not change because they understand something. They change because the environment around them makes the new behavior easier, more rewarding, and more aligned with their deeper motivations. Behavior design starts with a simple but uncomfortable truth. Learning is not about consuming information. Learning is about becoming a different version of yourself through repeated action. If action does not happen, learning has failed, no matter how intelligent or inspiring the content was. To understand behavior design in learning, we first need to talk about motivation. Motivation is often treated as a single force, as if people are either motivated or unmotivated. In reality, motivation is layered and fragile. People learn for very different reasons. Some want mastery and competence. Some want status or recognition. Some want security, stability, or relief from anxiety. Others are driven by curiosity or the desire to belong. When learning experiences ignore these differences and rely on generic motivation like discipline or willpower, they collapse the moment life gets busy or uncomfortable. One of the biggest mistakes in learning design is assuming that motivation is constant. It is not. Motivation fluctuates daily, sometimes hourly. Behavior design does not fight this reality. It works with it. Instead of asking how we can make people more motivated, it asks how we can make the right behavior happen even when motivation is low. This is where most traditional learning breaks down and where behavior design becomes powerful. Think about the last time you tried to build a new habit, like exercising, studying, or practicing a skill. In the beginning, motivation was high. You felt inspired. You imagined a better future version of yourself. Then friction appeared. You were tired. You were busy. You missed one day, then another. The habit collapsed. This is not a personal failure. It is a design failure. The behavior was not supported by the environment or reinforced by the learning process. Behavior design reframes learning as a system rather than an event. Instead of asking, did the learner understand this concept? It asks, what behavior should happen next? And how likely is it that it will actually happen? Learning becomes successful only when it reliably leads to action, even in imperfect conditions. One of the most effective tools in behavior design is the concept of nudging. A nudge is not a command or a punishment. It is a gentle prompt that guides behavior without requiring heavy effort or decision-making. Nudges work because they reduce cognitive load. They remove the need to remember, decide, or debate with yourself. When learning is paired with nudges, knowledge is constantly pulled into action. This is why coaching and mentoring are so powerful. A coach does not just transfer information. They provide accountability, reminders, and feedback at the exact moment when behavior should occur. A simple message saying it is time to practice or check in can be enough to trigger action. The learning itself may have happened weeks ago, but the nudge bridges the gap between intention and behavior. Another powerful aspect of behavior design is understanding the role of feedback. Most learning gives feedback too late or in the wrong form. Grades, certificates, and evaluations often arrive after the behavior has already stopped. Effective behavior design provides immediate, meaningful feedback that reinforces action. When someone takes a small step and receives a signal that says this matters, the brain starts to associate learning with reward rather than effort. Competition is another misunderstood tool in learning. When used poorly, it creates stress and comparison. When used thoughtfully, it activates a deep motivational drive. Many people are energized by the idea of improvement relative to others, or even relative to their past self. Behavior design does not force competition on everyone, but it recognizes that for some learners, progress becomes more meaningful when it is visible and comparable. The key is not winning, but engagement. The moment learning becomes emotionally engaging, behavior change becomes more likely. However, behavior design goes deeper than nudges, feedback, or competition. At its core, it is about habit formation. Habits are behaviors that no longer require motivation. They run automatically. The goal of learning should not be inspiration. It should be automation. When a behavior becomes habitual, learning has permanently altered identity. Habits form through repetition in stable contexts. If learning does not create opportunities for repetition, it cannot create habits. This is why binge learning, watching long videos, or consuming massive amounts of information often feels productive, but leads to no change. The brain remembers the ideas, but never wires the behavior. Behavior design shifts learning from intensity to consistency. Small actions, repeated reliably, outperform grand plans fueled by short-term motivation. Another mistake in traditional learning is focusing only on success and ignoring failure. Behavior design expects failure. It plans for it. Instead of assuming perfect execution, it asks what happens when the learner misses a day, loses focus, or feels discouraged. Systems that collapse after one failure are fragile. Systems that normalize recovery build resilience. Learning that includes strategies for restarting, adjusting, and continuing after setbacks is far more likely to produce lasting change. Identity also plays a critical role in behavior design. People do not just perform behaviors. They act in alignment with who they believe they are. If learning does not connect behavior to identity, it remains superficial. When someone starts to see themselves as a learner, a practitioner, or a disciplined person, behavior follows naturally. This is why language, self-reflection, and narrative matter in learning. Behavior design reinforces identity through repeated action and acknowledgement, not through labels alone. When we combine motivation awareness, nudging, feedback, habit formation, and identity, learning transforms from information transfer into behavior engineering. The goal is not to overwhelm learners with techniques, but to design environments where the right behavior is the easiest behavior. Learning becomes something people live, not something they occasionally consume. Ultimately, behavior design in learning is about respect for human nature. It accepts that people are busy, emotional, inconsistent, and influenced by their environment. Instead of blaming learners for not applying what they know, it redesigns learning so that application becomes the default outcome. When learning is designed to drive behavior, it stops being a temporary experience and becomes a lifelong process. If there is one idea to take away from this video, it is this. Learning that does not change behavior is entertainment. Learning that changes behavior is transformation. When we design learning around how people actually behave, rather than how we wish they behaved, we unlock the true power of education, not just to inform, but to shape habits, identities, and lives.